Hello everyone, welcome to Vidhyalayam. In this demo, we are going to cover all the features of Vidhyalayam at a very high level. Vidhyalayam, as you probably already know, is a comprehensive school management software. It's an enterprise application that covers all aspects of school management from data entry to report generation. Now let's quickly log in to Vidhyalayam to go through all the features. I'm going to log in as an administrator. So I will have access to all the modules. As you see here, the top menu here has different modules that are in the system. There are around 30 modules in the system. We will be going through them at a very high level. We have the details of individual modules as different videos, which you can access from our website to understand the detailed features of each of these modules. There are also around 75 reports that we have currently in Vidhyalayam, and we are working on producing more reports as needed. Let's quickly go through all the modules of Vidhyalayam. Here we have a menu item called Add. This is a very important menu item because once you install the software on your systems in school, you need to configure the system according to the needs and customizations of your school. So when we click on Add here, you see different submenus: subject, exam type, bus. Basically, all these are called master data management modules because you can configure different subjects for your school according to the needs of your school, different types of exams you want to configure for your school. For example, when I click on exam type, it will allow you to enter a new exam or select existing exams. Usually most of the schools have 4 unit tests, half yearly, quarterly and annual. Again, you can customize the maximum marks for these exams also here. So this is just an example of what you can do from this menu here. Basically, you can manage all your master data. When I mention master data, I'm referring to all the data that you need to set up for your school to run and start using the system. So for example, if you have transportation facility in your school, you can create different types of buses and you can add staff to those buses. You can create different bus stages and bus stage timings. And if you have library in your school, you can create different types of books here. You can create different types of schedules for your school. For example, exam schedule, timetable, exam timetable, and all the holidays for the school. You can set passwords for fixing the fee for the students, and also if you are giving any special concessions for the students in need, you can also set up a special password so that only a few people can access that module and give concession to the students. And also another very important aspect is when you install this software, you can actually set up your system in regards to the fee structure that has been defined by your school management. So for example, you can start to create different types of fee here. In this test system, we already have configured a few types of fee here, but again you can select or edit different types of fee from here. So let's quickly go back. Again, in the master data management here, you can create different types of fee: monthly fee, term fee. If you're going for a semester, you can do the semester fee. If you're doing a quarterly, you can do quarterly fee. So basically you can create different types of fee according to the structure and needs of your school, and then you can fix the fee per the class. And again, if you look at it, this is a secure module, so you need to be able to enter a password to fix the fee for each class because you don't want anyone or everyone to access this module. So as you see, the system is highly secure. Not everyone can access all the modules. Depending on the type of user, depending on the type of security role assigned to that user, only those people can access certain modules. And again, there are different master data modules here, like adding a hostel block name. For example, if your school has a hostel attached to it, you can do all kinds of hostel management also from here. Expense types, different types of expenses you can create here for your school. And then again, inventory, where you can keep track of all the stocks in your school, all the products. For example, chairs, tables, chalk pieces, blackboards, dusters, everything, computers, laptops, lab equipment, library equipment, anything can basically be stored in this here, and you create all the master data here for the product categories and products and all the suppliers who supply those products. So this is the main module where you manage the master data once you install the software. Now let's go into different types of transactions that you perform in a typical school management software, and that is where the rest of the 28-29 modules come into the picture. And the most important module, as we all know, is student module, where you can manage all the activities of a student. So when I click on student module, there it takes you into a sub-menu, a details module called student module, where you can create a new student, as you see here. And again, creating a new student is very easy. The application number, admission number, student ID, roll number, they're all there for you to quickly add. And then you can select a class, you can select a photo, and then you can enter all the details of the student, like personal details, family details, admission details, if there was a previous school that the student is coming from, addresses of the student, and then any emergency contact numbers, mobile numbers, and the relationship and the person's name can be entered here. So we'll now quickly go back and then look at other aspects of the student module. You can see the submenu here. You can edit the student information that was already entered. You can edit the marks here. For example, when I click marks, it will take you to the screen where you can actually select the type of exam, and it will already show you the maximum marks. In this case, the student already has some marks that were entered, and the total is actually calculated for you automatically. So if I, let's say I change this here, the total is changed and the grade also changes, and then you can save that information here. So everything is very clear, easy to enter, easy to maintain. Again, the most important aspect of student is the student attendance. You can take attendance by individual student, or you can take attendance by class here. So I'll just quickly show you how the screen looks like. So you can select the class you want to take the attendance for, and then it will display all the students in that class. You can select the date of the attendance through a calendar control here, and then you can select the types of attendance for individual student according to their presence in the class. And then you can do the attendance for individuals too. Again, I'm not going into much detail here. I just want to give you a very high level overview of the system. The detailed modules have their own videos where you can actually go in and understand how each module functions. Now we go into another very important aspect of student, which is the fee pay, where you can create different types of fee. Like if you remember, we have just seen different types of fee that were added to different classes, and now here you can manage that whole fee payment of the student in this section here. So once you select different types of fee, that is automatically pulled up here, and then you can add that to the student, and then that information is saved. Again, you can manage the fee payment from here. All the fee that student owes to the school can be managed here. So when you select that, it will tell you the total balance and the amount that was paid, and the receipt number can be entered, and the remaining balance can also be automatically calculated here. So now we'll quickly go back and look at other aspects. So if there is a hostel allocated, if the student is a residential student, automatically these menu items will be enabled, like room allotment, hostel attendance, LEP, there are other programs. And then the most important thing that a lot of people ask when especially a student might be transferring to another school, the study certificate. You can generate that by just a click of a button here. You can select that, and then automatically it pulls up the information about the parents, and then you can select the time period when the student was here, and then you can save that information, and the study certificate is automatically generated for you in form of a report. So here we go, and then this is what you can print. You can print it in form of a PDF file or an Excel file or a Word document, and then that automatically can be printed out so that you can deliver it to the parent. So here I click save. Obviously it's asking me to give a name. Here I can give a sample name, sample cert. So now export is completed. So you can generate any reports like this, and this is just a small example of a student certificate, study certificate. And now the progress card, which is a very essential part of any educational system. So for this student, already all the marks were entered into the system. So if you see different types of exams and the marks, maximum marks and the actual marks that they achieved. So once that is entered here, and when you click on generate, it automatically generates your progress card with the student name, ID, class, and then all the details of subjects and the exams and the marks attained. And then this can be again similarly sent into a PDF format or a Word document, and this can be printed out or even emailed out to the parents, which we'll be seeing in just a second. So now the other interesting aspect of a student is student promotion. Every year, of course, you want to manage the whole promotion process from one place, where you can select the student promotion by individual student or by individual class, and then it will automatically check for different parameters before promoting the student. If all the fee are paid, if all the examinations are passed and cleared, like that, and then you can click on the promote button and it will promote the student to the next class. Now let's go into a couple of other very interesting modules, and again very rarely found in many school management software out there in the market. Basically, student checkout forms and visitor forms. Whenever a student needs to be checked out from the class, this form needs to be filled out, wherein you can enter the details of person who is picking up the student and all the details of the permissions that were being granted for the student to go out of the school for a certain amount of time. So that information can also be tracked from this form here. This is a very practically useful form, because we all know that students tend to be taken out by parents for either medical checkup or some other work that comes in as an emergency. So you can use that form, and also you can keep track of all the visitors who have come to pick up the students through this form here. And then again, very interesting module in the student module itself is a health module, where you can conduct regular health checkups and then also enter the health information of the student at the time of joining the school. And then the most important aspect, as I would see, is incident management module for students or for staff. This module allows you to keep track of every single incident that happened in the school for any student or staff member. So you can track any kind of disciplinary action of the student, and then that can be basically tracked by the whole management and the principal and the administration until the case is resolved, so that you don't have to remember and think about what happened with regards to a student a year back or 2 years back. You can come here, you can search for that information, you can review the case, and you can take an action for that student. Again, the details of this module are in another video, where you can thoroughly understand exactly how to handle this process. Now let's move on to the next module within the student module, is a student evaluation module, which is again an absolutely wonderful module, very rarely found in any school management software, wherein you can evaluate a student not only in terms of the grades and marks that a student receives in different subjects, but in different other areas where you can evaluate a student in terms of their skills, in terms of their ability, work habits, and there are many other aspects that you can evaluate a student. And again, this software gives you opportunity to evaluate a student in 360 degrees in all dimensions of their personality. The most important module for CBSE schools that are in India is the CCE module. CCE stands for Continuous Comprehensive Evaluation module. Basically, the CBSE schools have their own way of evaluating students, and we have encompassed all of that functionality in Yota Vidhyalayam. As you see, the CCE menu is right now disabled, so we need to enable that by going into the class that actually needs the evaluation. So let's pick up 8th class, because CCE is mandatory for 8th class. It does show up, and if you see the menu under CCE, there are different options: scholastic, co-scholastic and co-curricular activities. The entire module has been designed keeping in view all the standards that CBSE has proposed to all their schools. So as you can see here, there are 2 different terms that you can evaluate a student under, and then different assessment areas like formative assessment area, 1, 2, and then summative assessment areas. All that is basically encompassed here, and as you keep entering the marks here, the grade gets calculated, and the GPA also gets calculated automatically. So it's instantly calculating your grades and grade points right when we enter the marks. So it becomes very easy for the staff or the clerks or administrators to capture the information, and that information is automatically saved. And similarly, you can evaluate all other aspects of CCE evaluation here. So you can go into Course Scholastic. Again, Course Scholastic has different areas like life skills, work education, visual and performing arts, attitudes, values. Similarly, co-curricular activities have different activities, and health and physical education, and then finally self-awareness. And after entering all the data, you can generate all the certificates. For example, if you go to grading here, obviously we have not entered information for all the FAs or essays here, but you can see this can be calculated. So when I click on generate, it generates information for just essay 1 here, because we haven't really entered information for all the other assessments. But once you enter all the data, you can generate the report from here, and it will calculate your final cumulative grade point average, and the actual report also gets generated in form of a nice booklet that can be printed out right from here. So now let's quickly go back. As mentioned, the details of each module are in a different video, where you can clearly understand exactly how the evaluation can be done or the functionality can be seen. So now let's move on to another interesting aspect of student module, various reports that can be generated for students. So there are different types of reports like self details, marks, fee details, attendance details, progress cards, study certificate, and again CCE reports can also be printed out from here. I'm not going into details of all the reports here. So now we'll quickly go out of student module and move on to staff module. Staff module is again similar to student module in the sense that you can create a new staff member from the new staff menu item here, and then you can create a staff ID, pick a picture, enter all the details of the staff, personal, family, education, address, emergency, very similar to student module. And in the main screen you can see the list of all the staff members in the school. All their details in fact are displayed right here if you scroll right. So you don't even have to go into the detailed screen to review all the staff information. Similarly with the student information, you can view all the information at one snapshot right in front of you in form of a nice table. You can again edit the student staff information like we have done for the student. Again, you can fix the salary for the staff here, which is another very important function. Once a staff member joins the school, you can come here and then you can decide the amount of salary you are paying for the staff member. You can decide the allowances that you want to pay for the staff, and then the total is automatically calculated, and you can update information for each of the staff members. And this sub menu here under staff, you can take individual attendance for staff, or you can take attendance for all the staff in one shot right here in the screen. So as you see, you can just select the date and all the staff members are listed here including the principal, and then you can select the type of attendance for each of those members and save all the information at one shot. Now let's move on to other aspects like fixing the salary. We have seen that any advances that staff are paid out when they join the school, that can also be tracked here, all the salaries. And again, teacher checkout form is a very interesting functionality here, where if a teacher has to leave the school for an emergency or any pre-scheduled appointment that a staff member has, he can come in and enter the information here in this form, and that can be tracked by the office management or the senior management. Very important module for staff, very unique to Yota Vidhyalayam itself, is the staff evaluation module, where you can help evaluate a staff member so that they can improve their performance on a yearly basis or a quarterly basis, depending on however your school system works. A staff can be evaluated in their academic skills, preparation, performance, and then review can be conducted every few months or every 6 months, and then the feedback can be provided. Again, this can be emailed out to the staff member directly in form of a PDF or a Word document. There are different types of printouts available for staff. The details of the staff member and all the advances that were given out in form of salaries can also be printed out in form of reports here. So now let's go out of staff module, go into the library module, which is a very concise and comprehensive module where you can create new books into the library. You can keep track of books that were issued to the students, all the returns and the issue details of each student, and all the transactions that have happened with regards to each of those books can also be tracked from this module. Another very important module for school management is inventory module. This module helps you to keep track of all the products or all the items that are in the school and their stock levels. In the beginning, we have seen that in the master data management here, we were actually able to create different types of products and product categories and suppliers for different products in the school. But this is where you actually create the purchase orders, and then you send that purchase order out to different vendors or your suppliers, and then that information can be again tracked from here. You can check the inventory levels. You can also get different types of reports for each of these inventory items in your school. And the next important module is the payments module. This is where you will keep track of all the financial transactions in your school. For example, all the daily expenses that happen in the school can be tracked from here. You can select the different types of expenses, for example, phone bills or gas bills or petrol bills for your vehicles or food bills. Everything can be tracked from here. The date of expenses, the amount given and the person given, the bill number, the organization name, all that can be tracked from this module here. And as you can see, there is also a sub menu here for all the bank transactions. You can create new accounts for the bank, and you can also keep track of all the deposits and all the withdrawals for the bank that you have used for the school. So you can also see here different types of banks that are available that you can select. And also the transportation expenditure can be tracked if you have school buses that are running for the school. That information can also be tracked from this module here. So I'm going to quickly go out here and move on to the hostel menu here. This module keeps track of all the activities of the hostel. For example, menu schedule, mess timings, mess expenditure can also be basically tracked. Data can be entered from here, and the reports can be generated in the reporting module. So here you can select different types of menu schedules. You can enter all the information here and save that information. Now let's move on to a very, very important module for any school, the timetable module. And Yota Vidhyalayam has taken very special care and interest to deliver you the best timetable module, dividing the timetable into 3 different areas. First, you can set up your school structure, like you can design for each class how many days you want the school to be run, and then you can select after that per day the number of periods you want to identify. So it creates, see, there you go, it creates your timetable for that class. And now you can go to the subjects sub-module, and you can create different types of subjects according to your school needs, customize it according to your school needs. Again, go back here, and the teachers information can be tracked from here. So you can pick up the teacher, and then you can assign the teacher to a particular subject, and then that information is saved here. And now let's go back and look at the availability here. This is exactly where you can bring all the 3 pieces together. So you can bring in the class, the day and the periods, and assign each teacher to individual class. So all the information can be captured in this absolutely wonderful module. You can create printouts from here for different timetables. If you want printout timetable for students, you can do that. If you want to print timetable for teachers also, you can do that from here, and it will directly take you to the report here, which is coming up in a second. And you can select the teacher, and then it brings out the timetable for that teacher if the timetable already exists. Obviously this is a test system. We don't have much information that we have entered into the system here, but that information can be shown in form of a report, and you can export that into a PDF. There you go. We don't have information entered into the system, but once you have all the information, you will have different days and then different periods, and the subjects for each of those periods for this particular teacher can be generated in form of a report, and you can print it out, you can post it to the class, you can send it as an email to the parents or to the teachers. So now let's move out of timetable module and move to the login module. This module is a very critical module because this is where you will be controlling different types of users who can access the school management software itself. So for example, you have clerks or accountants or administration people, and you want different types of access for each of these people. You can select that information. You can add the users here. For example, I'll show you quickly. When you select, you want to add a new user, you can select a teacher, for example, and then you can select different types of users. So if you want that person to be administering the system, or if he's an office assistant, all that can be entered here, and then you can create a password for that user and then save that information. You can give that information to this user and they can log into Yota Vidhyalayam with their access, with their username and password, and then access only the modules for which they are given rights for. So it's a very critical module, and also very important aspect is where you can keep track of all the logins into the system. So for example, on September 1st, these are the times administration user called admin with the user access called administrator logged in. The time and date also is kept track, so that your system is very secure and you know who logged into the system at what time. So now let's move into the next aspect. We have already covered the add module because this is where all your master data for the school is entered and customized. So we don't need to go into that aspect again. Now let's move on to two types of reporting structures that we have in the Vidhyalayam software. One is online reports. This is for all multidimensional analysis that you want to perform on different aspects of your school. So until now we have entered different types of data, master data and transactional data. And now you want to view all that information, you want to slice and dice that information, you want to get different types of reports and see how the performance of students is, how the performance of staff is, your expenses, your inventory, all those can be tracked from these online reports. So you can select a different each types of classes here, you can select the section here, or you can select the examinations, for example, in this case. So let's go back here, nursery. Select first unit test. Obviously there aren't any students in the system right now, but you would be able to analyze all that information from right here. You will be able to see the total students, number of students receiving different grades can be tracked from here. So it's a very useful tool, useful report for all the school management principals. And there are like that many other reports. Student attendance can be tracked from here. Students' health records can be tracked from here. And similarly, you have reports for staff attendance and advances, hostel, all types of hostel reports like all the students in the hostel, attendance of the hostel, menu schedules, mess timings, mess expenditure can be generated in form of reports. And then the class information, and again library information, library book transactions can be generated in form of report. So you can select the book here and then it will generate all the types of transactions that happened for the book here, and then you can view all the information from right here. And again, very important reporting for fee information. So all types of fee payments can be viewed from here in this module. So for example, you can select the class here and then all the fee information for that class can be seen here. This is obviously test data, but you can sort this information by different class, and then you can also even sort that information by student ID number if there are students in that class. So another very interesting module is online reports, where you can track so much of information, all the data that you have entered in form of reports, and those reports can be useful for your management, day-to-day management, or your future planning purposes. Again, the bus reports, you can generate so many reports for the bus module or the transportation module, all the payments for the bus, all the balances that are left for the bus payments. So here you go, the students, if they have paid their transportation fee every month or every term, that can be tracked from here. So now you can see payment balances, bus stage timings, bus staff information, all the expenses that were incurred on the buses, and then the students who basically go in different types of buses and bus routes, that also can be tracked from here. So you can select the bus number and then the bus stage, and you will know which student embarks or disembarks on each stages for that bus. Again, online reports for bank, all the deposits and withdrawals can be reported online. Like you can select the different type of bank here, and then you will be able to see all the transactions or deposits that were made into that bank account. Again, we have seen the timetable reports already, so that can be generated from here. So online reports are reports that are useful for slicing and dicing the information for making decisions. And then the printouts is where you can actually print out some of these reports for sending it in form of a PDF or a Word document to either parents or to the staff or to the students themselves. There are different types of printout reports that you can do, like expense reports, timetable reports. So it takes you to the timetable. Obviously you can select the class and then it will display the timetable for the class once you have all the information entered into the system. So let's go back. So there are different types of reports, again different types of schedules. Exam timetables can be printed out from here. You can select the class, you can select the exam type, and then the reports can be generated. And as I've already shown you, you can export those reports into different formats like PDF or Word documents from here. So let's quickly go out, and then there are other reports like bank reports, deposits and withdrawals. So this module is where you can print out nice reports and send them out to different people who are responsible for that information. And now coming to one of the last modules, but the most important module, is the messaging module. If you see the messaging module, there is a mail module here. This is for sending the mails between the staff members itself. They can log into the system and they can email all the information between the teachers and the principal or the administration. But the most important feature that we are talking about here is the SMS and email functionality. So SMS via web is where you can send out an SMS to parents of the students. So the information can be sent out here, marks can be sent out in form of SMS. You can select the, for example, you can select the student. I'm just giving an example here, and then it will automatically select the name of the parent, and it will pull out the mobile number from the personal details, and it will give you, for example, in this case there are no marks available, but if there are marks available here, it would actually give you the marks information automatically pulling from their record, and then you can just click on a send button and the marks are sent out to the parent right away. So another excellent module basically for sending out marks or even attendance for that matter. If you want to check and see if the students are in the class or not the class, you just go in and check the attendance, and then you can send out an SMS message to the parent saying that their child is not in the school on a particular date. And again, events information, we know that there are lots of information, lots of events that happen in the school, so that information can be sent out by selecting a date. For example, if you have an August 15th Independence Day celebrations, you can select the date and it will automatically copy the pre-generated message here into this box here, and then you can send out, and it will send it out to all the parents in the first class. They will receive this message. And similarly, all the incidents that happen in the school, for example, there might be an emergency or a health related information that happens, or some kind of unforeseen incident that happens in the school, that can be sent out to the parents too from right here. So this is basically how you can send out SMS to the parents with regards to different types of events or information that you would like to pass on to the parents instantly. Now let's also take a look at the mail module here. This is where you can also send out information in form of PDFs. So you can send out again marks or attendance or different events or incidents. You can select the class, you can select the student, you can select the examination here, and it will automatically create a message here. So it's picked up the name of the father here and the pre-populated with a message. So basically here we are sending out the marks for Srikanth here. And then you will have a password for administrator. Only administrator can access the system, so they will enter the password and then they will be able to send the email. In fact, if the email address is already entered in the personal details of the student, that will be pulled up automatically here, and then you can enter the subject here and then click send, and the email goes straight. You can also attach a file from here. You can attach a PDF file or anything you would like to send out to the parents, and then you can send that information from Yota Vidhyalayam to parents. So as you see, the messaging is a very central part. It makes your system very integrated, tightly integrated. It's a very closed loop system so that teachers, student, staff, administration, principal and the management are all kept together in one circle, so that the information is flowing in all directions and everyone is updated with that information. So Yota Vidhyalayam, as you have seen, is a very powerful software. Like I said, there are 30 modules in the system right now, and we are in fact adding more and more modules to make your life a lot more easier. We will be getting asset management module. We'll also be bringing out another financial module where you can generate like tax statements and financial statements every year. You can manage all your assets from the system here. As you have seen, you can go end to end, enter all kinds of data, and the data entry, as you have seen, is very simple, easy to be done by anyone. You don't need to be a very technically strong person. A normal technically novice person also can enter the information, and all that reports can be generated from the system with ease. And the most important aspect for CBSE schools is the CCE module, and I think we have covered end-to-end functionality for the CCE module according to the standards of CBSE, both from data entry point of view and to the report generation point of view. So thank you very much again for giving us an opportunity to present a demo. We will continue to bring more information to you, and as mentioned, for the details of individual modules, please do watch all the rest of the videos where you can understand detailed functionality of each of these modules. Thank you very much again for your time.